Okay, hi everyone, welcome to the first video that I'm going to do, which is a quick tutorial on a really simple chicken and vegetable curry. It's aimed at people doing various steps of the Cambridge diet, so I'm going to tell you how to modify it for different steps. But basically, I'll just show you what I've got on here. We've got some mushrooms, courgettes, mange tout, with some cooked and chopped up pork, some red peppers, onions, yellow peppers and chicken. And then I've got some flour here and some spices. Now on step 2 you're not allowed to have onions, but you could substitute those with spring onions or shallots or something like that, or leeks, so you'll add leeks as well. And normally I wouldn't be putting in chopped cooked pork as well as the chicken. I just use chicken breast, but I had some left over and I don't like throwing anything away, so we're going to make use of that. And I've tried to trim off all sort of the fat that I could see on it, so it's just kind of lean roast pork. So I've kept all the vegetables really chunky, and basically they're all chopped up ready to go in the pan, and I've got the pan on and it's really hot now already. I'm just going to show you what I do with the spices. So basically I've got some fennel, some coriander leaf, I've got some cinnamon, some ground cloves, some whole cardamom, fenugreek, and then in these ones there's ginger, ground ginger, and turmeric, and then I have some ground coriander and ground cumin as well. And basically what I'm going to do is just throw all those together, about the same amount of each. I don't really measure anything, but I just put it in. I'll use very small amounts of the cloves, the cinnamon and the cardamom, and then sort of equal amounts of the rest of the spices. Throw them in a bowl, and I'm going to grind them down so you can see what that's like. And then I mix it with the flour, which is just plain flour that I've measured out, and that is 30 grams. Now between this curry is going to do at least 2 to 4 portions, depending on how many vegetables and things you put in it. I wouldn't use any more than, that's like a couple of dessert spoons of flour, and in that 30 grams, about 70% of that is carbs. But if you divide that by the amount of portions you've got, it's not going to be over the amount of carbs that are in a normal Cambridge sachet, so I don't think you really have to worry about that too much, especially steps 3, 4 and 5 you're fine. Steps 2 you're not really meant to add any carbs in, but if you're having 3 products and a meal rather than the 4 products that you would have on step 1B, this is almost like a replacement of the fourth product, and that would have an amount of carbs in which is no less than what the flour would be. Okay, so just to show you quickly, I'm going to grind these spices. I'll bring those over here, and then like I said, I'm going to put those into the bowl. So they're now all ground in the bottom. Let's make a curry powder. I'm going to put those in the bowl with the flour, and then start adding things to the pan. So I'm going to put the peppers, onions and chicken in first, and then I'm going to stir that around and wait till that gets sort of sizzling, starting to be sizzling with the oil. Stir those around a bit there. I find that the peppers and onions will take longer to cook than courgettes and mushrooms, so just throw those in and get those, starting to get those softened, and then I'm going to cook away on there. Meanwhile, we'll go back to our spices. So I used the blender, that now I've put everything into a powder. So it's like a homemade curry powder. You can buy mild or medium or even hot pre-made curry powder, but I just really like making my own, because I think once you've bought all of the different regional spices I used sort of over here, they'll last for ages, and you can experiment and add in your own quantities of things and up certain ones if you like particular flavours. The only extra thing I put in there before I whizzed it down was a bit of garlic powder as well. So I would now add my flour in there, and I'll get a spoon and just mix that round together. So now I've got sort of a half flour and curry powder mix. And I'm going to go over and just spoon a couple of spoons of that over the mix that's currently in the frying pan. Okay, so we've now got all of the vegetables and the meat has been cooking down. I add, like the water that's come out of the vegetables, I added probably just a couple of dessert spoons full of water as well, just to help it sort of steam down with the vegetables and everything, and make sure it didn't stick on the bottom. There's no need to really add more than just a tiny coating of spray oil. You can just use a bit of water in with it as well, and that will just make sure that everything doesn't stick to the bottom, just keep it sort of moist at the bottom. So I'm going to pour in my milk, so it's probably about half a pint or so, and just stir that round. And you know, you can use half milk, half water. You could use skimmed milk, like I have done there, or you can use semi-skimmed. Or if you want a treat, rather than go for something like cream, you could just use whole milk if you wanted to, if you're on sort of steps 4 and 5 and want to take that. But you'd have to obviously work out the calories to make sure that there's not anything sort of over and above your daily allowance in there. Basically that will just heat up through now, so I'll just turn that up a little bit and start heating the milk through. The sort of water that was in the bottom there has thickened up a bit because the flour that I coated, the couple of spoons of flour that I threw in and coated the veg and chicken with initially, that flour is now started to thicken up the bit of water that I put in there. And then we're going to add in, so this is our bowl here of the curry powder with the flour. Okay, so that's now up to the boil. The curry powder has now cooked through with the flour that's in there. As you can see, it's started to thicken up, so it's thickened up nicely and made a sauce. It will continue to thicken up if I leave this on the boil, but just remember to keep stirring, as otherwise the sauce will start to thicken up at the bottom where the heat is the first, and then you'll just get lumps or it'll burn on the bottom. So top tips for making the curry. Obviously it's a very low carb dish. If you do want to thicken it further, you could add perhaps a teaspoon of corn flour or something, obviously, or you can use not as much liquid. The 30 grams of flour was for a kind of 4 portions of curry really, so I wouldn't sort of get too obsessed about the fact that it's got flour in it. But everything else in there, the skimmed milk, there's water, there's the veggies and the chicken, so really it doesn't contain anything you're not meant to have. And just adapt it to your own tastes. Obviously season it how you wish, use the vegetable bouillon or something like that to give it a bit more flavour, and obviously just enjoy it and experiment yourself. Hope you've enjoyed a quick tutorial on how to make a low carb homemade curry, and we're going to go and eat tea now, and I'll make another video soon hopefully, just to give you some more ideas of what you can eat on the Cambridge Weight Plan. Thanks for watching, bye!